Hello everyone, it's Alex again. Welcome to another video. Today, Wednesday, was a very slow day. Nothing happened. Check out my portfolio. I made 3 trades. I tried 3 trades, and I essentially stopped out of each one of them. The good thing is, this time I managed to set my this time, let me put it this way, I started using stop losses and it really served me well. Now, why did I suddenly start using stop losses? If you remember, if you watched yesterday's video, then you know that towards the end of my recording of the video, I hadn't made a single trade yesterday until I started making the video. And then during the video, the stock I was watching, SXTC, in fact, the one I traded today as well, rose quickly again. And because I had missed a huge opportunity yesterday, just being fearful of getting into that trade, I didn't take a trade that could have made me anything between $300 and $3,000, depending on how risk prone I would have been. I missed out on that one. And I was really bummed out about that. I was so frustrated that I was just too afraid to take a trade. And because of that, I missed out immensely that I took a trade while I was doing the video. And while I was doing the video, my trading was quite clumsy. I got in at a little bit higher price than I wanted to. It did rise a little bit. I sold one order, like 1/3, essentially. I think I sold half. A little bit higher, made a tiny amount of profit. Then it fell down, and I clumsily sold below my previous buy-in, another a quarter of my previous position, of my initial position. But then it crawls back up quite high. Well, not quite high, but like it crawls up maybe like 15 cents from my buy-in, and I sell the rest, and I'm up like $5 on the trade. $5. It actually does keep on growing higher, and again I missed out on some profits, but that was again panic setting in that it might fade, and I just got out too fast. After that, I was again a little bit frustrated about that I ended up taking another trade, and I just went bonkers. That was the biggest mistake I have ever made in my trading. I cannot stress this enough. Initially, I mean, I was so ashamed yesterday. I took a video of the trade, but because I did so, I did such a huge mistake. In the end, I was so ashamed that I didn't post the video. I lost $950. $950. That is 2/3 of my entire cash, of all the cash I have in this account. 2/3 of that gone in one trade. What happened? Let me quickly summarize it. I got in eager to make another profit, very hopeful that it's going to break again, because after my initial trade, it rose to a new high of day at almost 850, 847. I think my last sale, I got out at 805 or something like that. So it went to a high of 847. And I was thinking, wow, this is the new high of day. It might as well. It could go past that. It could go even higher. So I bought in 500 shares at, what was it? I waited for a short comeback of that stock price after the 847. And I think I bought in at 788. Or 785, something of that sort, hoping that it'll go back past 8 in a while. Now after that, it ended up fading quite quickly to like 530, and I got a bit scared. And I was waiting, but it went right back up to like 760, 770, almost to my buy-in. I was thinking, okay, just give it a little bit of time. In the end, I waited. Well, I took the entire trade, took like 2 hours. I was just so I was just daring so much. I was joking about going all in, but in the end, I really regretted doing that, because that was just $950. I mean, let me just continue. It after it came down one more time to around 730, I thought, or 720. I thought, let me buy another 200 shares to bring down my initial buy-in, so that I have an opportunity to make a little bit of profit at a lower, even below my initial buy-in. So I got my I got my what's it called? I got my average entry at 765, and I was holding that, and it kept um, going, like falling a little bit, rising a little bit, falling a little bit, rising a little bit, like going sideways, but with big steps, like 50, 60 cents steps. Um, and at one time, it after I think 1.5 hours or something, it reached 168, and I would have actually I was in the plus after initially being down like I was down 300 on the trade, um, and as it crawled back up, I was again hopeful it will break that. It reached to a high of 768, and then it came back down again, and at some point it crashed all the way down to 586. So I was down almost $2 on 700 shares. I think my highest loss, like the highest or the lowest I got in my loss, was $1,100 or $1,200. I held through that as well, hoping that it might still come back. But that was stupid. After 2 hours and it reaching, it again going sideways, I think I sold at 7:30 or something of the sort, 7:30, and lost $950 on that one. The thing is, I was going pure FOMO. What I didn't see, what I just ignored was I was seeing lower lows and lower highs. It was going sideways but with a slow downward trend. Like it was a downward trend, a very flat one, but it was a downward trend nonetheless. And I just ignored that, even though I thought about selling a couple of times in the $300-$200 range, like where I was down $200 or $300. I was thinking, okay, maybe let me just stop out of this one. It's not going to come back up. But my FOMO, my hopefulness, kept me in there. I was just being naive, reckless, not thinking straight, not doing anything of what I have talked about the last few days. Cutting your losses and making sure, staying disciplined and getting out of a trade. I ignored all of that. I was just too hopeful, and in the end, this is what I got, $950. So that really bummed me so much. I mean, you can't imagine how angry I was with myself. So today I said to myself, Alex, don't make that mistake ever again. That was a one-time thing, and this was a big lesson. It really brings me in jeopardy because I'm starting the day today with a lot less buying power. So this was not good. This was just very, very bad. Okay. So today, because of this, I was careful, but also there was not much going on. I essentially only looked at I looked at a couple of stocks, maybe 3 or 4, but I only took trades in 2 stocks. My first one was just right out of the gate. We can watch the video of my trade here. So it was right out of the gate at 9:33, and I'm looking at this and thinking, okay, I'm checking. This had just made a quick move up. It dropped down, but then it made a quick move up, and just today, pre-market, it had made some nice moves up. And I'm looking at the 5-minute chart. Looks kind of good, like lots of green candles here going sideways, and then green candle going sideways, green candle, a little bit down, and then a large green candle. And even on the daily chart, it kind of looked good. So there we go. I ordered I bought shares at 134, I believe, 134, and for the break of 140, the previous high. So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing lots of buys. You can see, like 10,000, 11,000 shares, 2,000 shares, another 40,000 shares, or 4,000 shares, excuse me, 12,000 shares. There's a lot of buyers coming in. However, there's also a lot of sellers. You don't see it now, but it always, when it reaches 134, 133, now you can see it a little bit, like 3,000, 1,000, 5,000. There was even above 10,000 there for a moment. Just a lot of sellers as well. It's really thickly traded. Already 6 million shares today, rising rapidly. So I'm setting smartly a stop loss, a stop limit order at 125. As soon as it reaches 126, I will set a sell order at 125, trying to get out of it. It just, this way, by setting a stop limit, I can assure that I'm not going to hold this longer than I think, and I I still have the option of when it goes higher, I can still make profit. Unfortunately, I don't have the option of a trailing stop here. A trailing stop would have been nice, because a trailing stop goes with the price up but not down. So if you're at 134 and I set a trailing stop of 10 cents, so at 124 I want to sell. As soon as it goes to 136, it will the new stop will be at 126, and if it goes to 170, a trailing stop would the next stop would be at 160. So it really protects your potential profits if you have that. Now, TradeZero doesn't have that option, so I'm going to have to watch it, and I'm going to have to manually adjust my stop limits. My first one was, again, as I said before, 125, 126, and I'm looking at this and I'm seeing, okay, it's kind of staying above 130, 131, and at some point it's going to go to 136. Let me see, where is that? 240. We already passed that? No. 855. Yes, 855. I'm gonna quickly move ahead. I was watching this for more than 10 minutes, and I just, as it reached a new high of day, or not high of day, I'm sorry, a new high of 136, I said, okay, let me raise my limit. Let me say, instead of 125, which would be a 9-cent loss, I'm setting it at 130, 131, giving me a potential 4-cent loss, hoping that it will hold this level and eventually break, and then who knows where it'll go. Now, I just keep watching this. I saw it because volume is still high and volume keeps coming in, so I am continuously hopeful. But there we go, my stop limit order got called, and after that it kind of like hovers a little bit lower than that, comes back up a little bit, but as we can see on the daily chart, here these are the highs at 134, and then just a couple of minutes later at 9:45 it makes a big drop down to 118. That's not a big drop. We're already 118 and then 113, and it just keeps going sideways, never going back into the 130s even. So that was the first trade. I lost $2.55. Now that is really acceptable. I was very happy with that. Next one down would be 2 trades on SXTC. Now, let me see. I was watching this a couple of times throughout the day because it had made some move, but then going sideways. And at 32.25, yes. On the 1-minute chart, it's a bit better to see. It made one big move, then kind of sideways, another kind of big move, sideways, big move, sideways. It's really hard to predict. There's not really any good entry visible here, and it is still below yesterday's high. Now, and also the volume was low, but now we can see volume is increasing, and it actually reached a new high of day. It broke this one, so I started watching this again, seeing, okay, what might happen on this one. It quickly rises, really quickly, from 730 all the way to 763, 770, 772. It might go higher. Yesterday's high was 847. So there is a potential here, but I need to find a good entry. So as volume still increases and the price increases, I'm patiently waiting for a short pullback. And we can move a little bit forward. 36.20. You can see I kept watching it at that. It did reach a high, and now it's pulling back a little bit, and now it was rising again. And did I play? Oh no, it's pause. Now it's rising again, but it looks like it might again be forming an ABCD pattern. So I'm thinking, okay, Well, here you go. You see, I set a buy order at 764, and it actually gets filled. Right. This was the buyback, and I thought, okay, let me get in there. Yesterday, I was seeing that, and I set a buy order too low, and I didn't get in. So I figured, okay, today I have to be a little bit more bold and set a buy order within the range of that triangle that is forming. Let me zoom in and then see if what is happening. Oh my god, this is so difficult. Even higher. Can I go in here? Yes, this triangle that is forming here, it's whipping up and down, but the range is getting smaller as it goes, so it's gonna be a triangle. This is so annoying. Let me draw. Here we go. That's it's a bad triangle, but I hope you get the gist of it. So I need to stay in that range, and as you saw, I just let me zoom out again and clear all, not draw, and continue. I had just set a buy order in that, and I'm getting in, and I'm watching. I actually don't set a stop loss here, but I'm watching carefully how it's going. And at 38, I can move a little bit up. Here you go. The triangle is kind of forming. However, it's coming quite low here. It's going quite low, and I'm thinking, oh, this is breaking. It's falling. It's falling. So I end up selling at this point. I do sell with my hotkeys instead of a stop loss. I would have set the stop loss actually a lot higher. So I should have done that here. I forgot about that one. Again, it's quite high volume on a red candle. This is not good, but at least I stopped out with $36 in the red. That was still okay, and there was a chance that it could have gone much higher. So just like yesterday, it could have broken that level and then gone past 8, and I would have made a nice profit. Luckily also, I'm only in with 100 shares. I'm still really careful with big. Here, look, it just dropped to $7 so quick. It even goes a little bit below 7, I think to like 690 or something, 695. I'm really happy that I got out where I got out. Of course, a little bit higher up would have been nicer, but this drop again came so fast. It's really scary. This is exactly what happened to me yesterday when I was holding that big bag of 700 shares, and suddenly it made within 1 second a 50-cent drop, and I'm like, oh god, my feared loss of $300 just increased to 1,000. That was not fun. Nothing else really happens. I watch at a couple more stocks, but nothing really shows up. I'm not really sure where I could, where there is a good opportunity. So I end up just biding my time for quite a long time to see something else coming up. In the end, let's go here. I'm looking at SXTC again, and again, this went a little bit far. Whoa, what happened here? I set a buy order. Okay, I went a little bit too far in the video, but again, a triangle was forming, and the new high it had made was 795. So again, it was rising higher. Previously, it was at 785, and that's when it broke down again. That was right here at 785, and it faded, and I got in, and then it dropped. And here it reached a new high. So the same thing is happening. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is another opportunity. Let me buy in again. And trying to find the right buy-in price, I changed my buy order. I did it manually and I changed it a couple of times. In the end, at 768, I do get filled. And we have a couple more seconds to go. Yeah, good. We're close to the end of this video. Anyway, I watch this. I end up setting, here you go. Here you can see it. I end up setting a stop loss. I set a stop loss at first at the lower end of that range. This broke 749. I was actually already scared. It broke above 50 again, and I immediately set a stop limit at 51. or actually 750 when it reaches 751. So I was getting ready for potentially dropping out, and as it goes, it actually, the triangle keeps forming, and it goes a little bit higher and never reaches lower below 756 after this one. 756 is the new low. So eventually I change my stop limit and I change it to 56, 57, making sure my loss is a little bit less, or my risk is a little bit less, to reduce my risk a little bit. But in the end, I can pause this now. That was so much for the video. There's nothing more to see here. If you look at the SXTC chart, it reaches that high. I got in just about here in this one, and it just fades and never reaches back. So my stop gets filled at 757, and I'm down another $12, 756, and I'm down another $12. So, and that was it. Now, as I go, nothing else happened in these charts. So I think I'm finally managing to keep the time limit. No, still above 20 minutes. Okay, well, there we go. But again, the lesson I made today, or the lesson I learned today, is stop limits. Set my stop limits. If my emotion keeps me is winning over my common sense, not my common sense. If my emotion is winning over my rationality, then a stop limit will help me with that. So I don't need to set the sell. Instead, it's going to do it myself. It's going to do it by itself for me. The important thing about stop limits is that you manage the range properly. Don't set it too closely. Always set it, when you look at bars. In fact, let me look at SXTC again. Oh, SXTC is open here. Sykes. SXTC is open here. Now, of course, it's loading. It takes a little bit of time. 780, 755. So you can see on this candle, this is when I got in. And the low was 752 and the high 780. Actually, I got in a little bit before that, I believe. But I set the stop limit at this bar. So the low of that is 752.8. So the stop limit should be below that, 751, as I said it, because it might retest that. This is now support, especially if it's an ABCD pattern or a triangle or a flag pattern. This is now support. You have to make sure that you get below the last support. And a lot of people, this is like something that you can see everywhere. Every teacher mentioned this. A lot of beginners set their stop limits too high because they think in terms of their dollar loss instead of in terms of support. You should think about support or dollar loss when you would set your entry, because your entry should be at a point where your risk, the next support, is roughly half as far away as the potential where you could get out. Now, I'm really still learning this. I'm not good at that yet, but at least I know that stop limits should be just below that support level. So I've been doing that, and whenever a new support level, a higher support level is reached, in my case today on the 1 minute chart, I adjust my stop limit a little bit higher to reduce my risk even more. Okay, guys, that's it, and I'll stop it here, and I'll see you again tomorrow, and hopefully one of these days I'm going to be a bit more lucky. I think I learned a lot from my huge mistake yesterday. As I said yesterday, scared money doesn't win. In the end, I was scared. I missed out on a huge profit potential, and then I took a risk, completely hopeful and naive and just irrational, thinking that it might come back up and I might get rich, and in the end I paid for that very, very, very heavily. So now my new resolution is, okay, be extremely rational about this. Look at the charts. The charts tell you. They do tell you. Technical analysis does work if you just know how to analyze the chart. Look at the chart, trust the chart, and base your entry on the chart in the level 2, and make sure that you try to get a better win-loss ratio, the best possible win-loss ratio, and then set your stop limit at the last support level, which is again half of your potential profit. And if you manage to do that every single time, just statistically you will make profits. Now I have yet to get there. I am still trying and still learning, but I hope that after yesterday's lesson, painful lesson, that I will never ever let my emotion run this game, because that's just bad. Of course emotion will come in, but that's where stop limits then take place. Okay guys, see you guys tomorrow, and I hope you guys don't make the same mistake as I did yesterday. Good luck and bye bye.